Night of the Living podcast is always ad-free for patrons at patreon.com/NOTLP.
What's that now?
Have you checked the children?
What's that now?
Have you choked your chicken?
Ring.
I don't know what that is anymore.
All right.
Even the pulse tone in the beginning. They did. You notice they mark time in this movie. The main attraction we're getting to later, but I just thought of this. In the first segment, she has a rotary phone. At the end of the movie, she has a touch-tone phone.
Passage of time.
Yeah, it's practically Forrest Gump.
What do the phones that they're making now for landlines sound like? Is it still...
Well, that sounds completely gone too because that was replaced by touch tones.
So nobody knows because none of us have a landline. Welcome to Night of the Living podcast. We're old. We're not that old.
You do hear the fake sound of it when you dial on your phone, smartphones, though, just to give you the comfort.
We're not old. We're current. That's why we're asking.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because we're so current.
Landline phones sound like.
What are the olds doing?
Yeah, I don't think, Amy, it's okay. We can, let's take that old that's hanging over us right now. And let's just shake it off.
I don't know how. It's like all centered in my lower back.
I want you to imagine you're in the middle of a desert and you're on your way to a big, tall, dark tower somewhere in the middle of a vast city.
Well, this is making me feel better, yes.
And you are just in the middle, and the only way you'll make it to that tower is if you shuffle off this weight of this meaty loser that died 1/4 way into the journey, who now you have to bury in the desert to move on.
That's a long journey.
Yeah.
So that's Freddy with his version of the gunslinger.
Basically.
We've got Andy here.
I'm here.
We've got Elsa down here making weird noises. She's my dog. And I'm Amy. Welcome to the show. Today we're talking about When a Stranger Calls because the theme is...
Boo phone, who dis?
Because of genius.
It's phone stuff. We're doing phone stuff. So that's fun.
Well,
just like high school again.
What's that phrase? A stranger's just a friend you haven't met yet.
Yeah.
Or something. She should just asked him his name.
and then he wouldn't have asked about wanting to be drenched in her blood or anything. He would have just changed the subject.
See, it's a sign to be friendly.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about Charles Durning later. Did you know that he was a dancer?
Looking at him in this movie, I'm shocked.
Right.
He's just an unlikely.
He was like a Fred Astaire studio dancer.
I don't want to define what a dance looks like, but I have an idea.
And it's not
mind.
Charles Durning.
Yes.
Right. In fact, if you were to give a kid a flashcard and one side said dance and the other side was a picture of Charles Durning, those kids would be like, what?
Maybe
it's an indictment on us that we're not thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. Charles Durning didn't have a dancer's traditional body. And we're not body shaming and we're not talking about somebody's body, except we're doing both. Which is something we should stop ever doing.
It's fine because honestly, you look at a man of his stature and size.
The trivia on Charles Durning and IMDb, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at him and he's like coming out of his button-up shirt, which, frankly, relatable.
Super relatable body type now.
Okay.
Back then, that wasn't so much, but now that's every man's body. Every man is Charles Durning.
Wow.
I'm every Charles Durning.
I don't see Durning.
Don't see Durning.
Yeah. Durn.
So if every man is Charles Durning, then what is every woman?
Inside of me.
Is it Shaka Khan? Shaka Khan. That's another interesting idea. When you say I'm every woman, do you think of Shaka Khan or Whitney Houston?
Oh, I usually think of Whitney Houston now.
Oh.
Whitney only
she
because that
it.
was the first time I had heard the song. Well, maybe not, but The Bodyguard was like a big moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's the concert where she had the outlandish outfit that looked like a pyramid on her head kind of thing.
Queen of the Night.
Was it Queen of the Night?
Queen of the Night.
Shit was cool.
That fucking soundtrack was my everything for a long time.
Speaking of cool costumes, I sent you guys a picture of this. I was watching an old Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And there was this entire species that were kind of, I think, robots, kind of, but they all look like Rick James. Like, I mean, they all had Rick James hair from, it was the Super Freak kind of styled costume in a lot of ways.
It was probably just straight up
ripped off.
What year was this?
70s. It was the guy.
That makes sense.
Who was which one's the one who wore the scarf? You guys
I don't
remember?
know.
I'm terrible with this stuff.
I don't know anything.
Anyways, it was an old Doctor Who.
I'm not a Whovian. So.
You're not a Whovian?
I watched a little bit.
Didn't grow up in Whoville.
Of the new Who.
Didn't go to Hooverd?
I couldn't come up with one to play with you guys. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Tight. Yeah, so welcome to the show. Patreon.com/NOTLP. There you'll get ad-free episodes. Topicana a week early. You'll get Origins, which is me recording intros to our... And we've all done it. There's a lot, but lately it's just me recording intros to our old-ass episodes and looking back. And all that's there at patreon.com/NOTLP, including merch that you can earn through.
Yeah. And we're going to have new designs
paying
too,
for it.
which are going to look probably different than what you're used to.
That you're going to do it.
Because I'm doing the design now, and my style of art is a little different than Kelley's. I hope you like what I'm working on.
You are a little different.
I'm a little different. It's kind of like if you brought a child from a local nursery in.
Or like those animals that paint.
Or like like when they give a baboon acrylics and they're like, go to town. Coco, we'll be right back.
Like you see those, they put a paintbrush in the elephant's trunk and just
I love
scribbles or a raccoon. It's so adorable.
Sometimes
I've seen dogs, border collie, paint.
Did he paint with his
mouth?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Every once in a while, one of them sharing something out that's kind of beautiful.
I mean,
it's beautiful in its nature.
There's no reason why
it's abstract.
Yeah, it's always abstract. But what I mean is sometimes one comes out that looks like it was made with intention. That looks more human. There's I think there's a site where they're like, did a raccoon draw this or something?
.com.
Did a raccoon draw this
or something?
That's what websites were like for us. If we want to talk about being old, back in the day,
hot or not, rate by poo.
You just gotta see who signed it. If it says Bandit at the bottom with the little paw, that's when you know our raccoon signed it.
It's fucking adorable. I would love to have a raccoon if they wouldn't eat my cereal.
I love raccoons. I wish they were domesticated, but apparently they're very difficult to have pets.
I had a customer.
What do you think? Like in 1,000 years, are we domesticating raccoons?
We are domesticating raccoons currently.
Well, how long does it take though?
What time is it now? And then I can tell you when your raccoon will be ready.
It's 6:16.
I can have your raccoon ready by
Monday, May 13th. Yes.
Okay, it's May 13th. I can have your raccoon ready by Thursday. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Fully domesticated?
It's kind of quick.
Okay.
Yeah, you're almost like, is this like it's
a scam?
A Shein I know it's slave labor to train this raccoon?
No, you're gonna think when you get it, you're gonna be like, this looks like a cat in an outfit.
Okay.
But it's not. It's a raccoon I domesticated.
And so I shouldn't pull on the zipper that I feel.
And you're going to need a litter box.
So the other night, I decided to do some tubing with Tubi.
That's what Amy's calling it now. She's branding everything we do in the home.
Yeah. No, we've been talking about this for a while, but it's where you pick a movie and you start there and then you just watch the next movie that Tubi recommends to you. And the next one. And the next one. It is a adventure every time.
It's Wednesdays on the toilet with Freddy.
This one just consists of 3 movies, one of which I haven't even started yet, but I will continue this tubing. But I started with a movie called Scream.
Not the Scream, but a different Scream, of course.
From 1981. I've never heard of this movie. Have you ever heard of this, Andy?
Not the 96 one.
Yeah.
This
was 96, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was 80. This one's from what, 80, early
81?
80s, right? Or 81.
It's, you don't know it for a reason. It's not good, but there's some charm.
What does the poster look like? Is there a scream on it? Somebody screaming at all?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Can you even remember what happened in this movie at all?
Essentially, it's a bunch of people that are maybe friends or maybe they just all got on a tour and they don't know each other. But there's a bunch of people that go on a whitewater rafting trip, and part of it is to then their guides take them to this old ghost town, like Western town, and they're going to spend the night there and then continue on their whitewater rafting trip.
It sounds so good. I watched it, and I can't tell you that any of that clicked with me as happening.
But
it felt like a Brady Bunch episode.
Yeah, it was really weird. They start getting picked off one by one.
It's just a slasher.
It's not just a slasher, though. There's a little twist at the end that is not made clear unless you read the Wikipedia page and you go, "Oh, that's what happened at the end."
Oh, that's neat. It has a Wikipedia page.
True.
Yeah, have it handy.
True. Scream. And then it said, if you like people staying overnight somewhere creepy, then you'll love Hell Night. Which
is that what the criteria said?
No, I just was making that up.
That would be perfect.
But I think that's what its algorithm was doing.
People having creepy overnights.
We watched Hell Night, which I've seen before. Linda Blair.
Yeah, you've seen that, right, Andy?
Yeah, we did it for the show, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So we rewatched it because it's a good time.
It's still pretty fun.
And then it suggested Grotesque, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I think this is where it like leaves the like slashery kind of, and it goes somewhere different. So Grotesque is up next. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah.
Is it from the same era?
I think so. Yeah. 70s, 80s.
80s overnights.
I know.
You know, I'm fine. Like, it's great.
I'll just keep going down that river. Yeah. Freddy's like noodling on the guitar, and I'm watching some cheesy horror. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's probably leaking into everything I do because there's always something on the TV in the room.
Yeah.
You don't want things leaking on you.
It's leaking.
It can make a stain.
That's why you
see them stains.
There's the incontinence aisle if you need.
Okay.
Well,
that's a manly thing to do now, to wear diapers.
Why is that?
Because the dumbass Republicans are trying to reclaim diapers and said because Donald Trump wears them, so people are wearing diapers in support of Donald Trump.
No, really?
It's called like Diapers for Don or something.
This sounds like we made that up to embarrass them.
This feels like an op, like a true op.
Yeah,
like an operation.
This feels like The Onion.
This doesn't feel real.
I like it.
Well, like you can't tell if these people are serious.
You can't tell anymore.
I think normalizing diaper use sounds wholesome as hell.
Of course.
Until everyone's doing it, wearing a full diaper.
Well,
when it's everyone, it's not fun anymore.
Okay.
But is that what can unite us that nobody knows who shat?
Yeah, because everyone smells awful. Yeah. Welcome to my nightmare.
So
the people who aren't shitting their pants are like, they're going to be the people from the Twilight Zone with the non-pig faces.
Basically, yeah. They're like, you don't stink at all, which means you do stink the worst of all.
I meant to tell you, Andy, I'm not sick. I'm experiencing allergies, so you don't have to feel weird about being in a room with me because that's like a thing still, right? We warn each other.
Experiencing allergies.
No.
I think
we stopped.
I'm sure that we should be concerned about viruses still, but I think we're at that point where nobody cares anymore.
You're right. The pollen hates me this year. Just this year.
Pollen doesn't like it.
I can't handle this. This is a lot. I need a medication.
Pollen should be eliminated. There, I said it.
Just cut off your nose. You'll be fine.
Then all the plants would die.
Oh, let's make sure the pollinators are okay. Let's make sure they're good.
All of our oxygen would get real dirty.
Yeah,
then it would mix with all the diaper people.
I can't breathe.
Like the hardcore voluntary diaper people.
I miss breathing out of my nose. You watching anything, Andy? You got anything?
You're in the mouth breathers now.
I need to stop talking about diapers.
You look real dumb in stores,
I
don't
know. I drool and shit.
Like, sometimes you walk by people in stores and they're just like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's called being a certain age where it wore down that final layer of sheen that was on you when you left high school.
Civilized sheen.
Yeah, just youth.
There's a reason they call them mouth breathers.
Yeah, because they breathe through their mouths.
Sometimes they just look real dumb.
It's a medical condition, though, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, because I am stuffed up.
No, I mean, like, there's people who can't. There's people who have to.
There are people who can't.
Who have, like, deviated such and such.
It's the combination of the open mouth and the glazed look on your eyes.
Yeah, like, you can tell the people that their mouth is open because their nose is stuffed up. And that the people who have left it open because they forgot it was open.
They're thinking too hard. And I'll tell you, man, I know I'm probably guilty of that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm working on something real deep. This is the most stupid I gotta look. I think every person, the best work that was done by anybody in this world was done by someone with a gaping open mouth.
because they're too distracted by what they're doing.
They were constantly like Apollo 12, which is the good one. 12. They're all good except for the one that blew up.
Oh my god.
That was a sad one.
Which one? A lot of them blew up.
My point is, all those people had their mouths open the entire time.
So
I'm watching X-Men 97.
Ah,
That is a horny show.
oh no.
Yeah.
Everybody fucking in that show.
I kind of watch
Oh my
it
goodness.
with my
we need to watch this.
super limited attention span, but like they did sex it up. I think.
I mean,
from the
I know
original.
like because I was a big X-Men fan growing up, so like I know there's a lot of relationships that happen, but there's this you don't expect it. I know that cartoons aren't for children. I know that, but you don't expect it to see such a horned up cartoon.
Well, it's funny because the original one, when it came out, felt like it was a cross kind of young adult market.
Yeah, because it was on Saturday mornings.
Right. So it was definitely kind of for younger kids mostly. But this one, even though it just picks up right where the
It's
other
for
one ended,
those
right?
kids who watched it then.
What I'm wondering, so it's for adults.
Yeah.
Like, does it literally, continuity wise, is it exactly like what they left off with? In the
I
old
don't
series?
remember because
okay.
I don't remember the original series, but I know that a lot of the storylines are very familiar.
And the dialogue's really sophisticated.
Yeah.
I don't remember if the original
No,
show
it was
had-
like that too.
It
Like
did?
everybody's talked like they were Shakespeare characters.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Amy, you'd love it because it's kind of it's got so many characters.
It's very soap opera-y. I think you like it.
Okay.
You'd have to do you think you'd have to watch the old series?
Not really. I
You
mean,
could just
like
start it blind.
It
You
would
can just
help. It
explain
would
things to
help,
me.
but they're like, it's a show geared toward fans, but I think a lot of people could jump in and be fine with it.
Because I know you dive in right into the middle of Magneto and
Xavier.
now wait, I didn't want to. Is there a spoiler in there? Like in the first episode, something really big happened, right?
No, they straight up said like Charles Xavier's dead.
He's dead. Okay, that's the thing. Xavier's
That was
dead.
Patrick Stewart in the movies from early 2000s.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. Shush your mouth.
He was alive when it ended.
I don't
in the
remember.
90s, I think. I don't know. All right.
Don't
Anywho.
ever just say he's dead after I say Patrick Stewart's name.
no.
That's upsetting.
Not for real.
I burst into tears today, Andy, because the dog I follow on the internet died.
Oh no, which one was it?
It's the Golden Ratio, and
okay.
have all these beautiful golden retrievers they rescue with special needs.
They're the sled dogs in Alaska.
No,
right?
no, this is different.
Oh,
I have many dogs on the internet
she
that
has
I
different
love.
dog celebrities.
But I cried because Vink died, and I'm just like, I don't know this dog, but this dog.
Remember when we met Tank this weekend?
Yes, I met a bulldog.
English bulldog is a family member.
Yeah, I'll get to see that
My
dog
niece
again.
is my niece's nephew dog. I don't know. You know, people always try to jam their pets into their family tree in a weird way. We do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Even. But then I'm just like, oh, that's just too much to rattle around in there together.
Millie
with
and
real people.
Elsa were cousins with Guapo. May he rest in peace forever.
I've got human cousins I don't talk to.
Honestly, I don't need to. I like dogs better all the time. We met a Saint Bernard. Wasn't it not a Saint
It was
Bernard?
a mix. It looked like a Saint Bernard.
That was a huge motherfucking
that
dog.
was
Diamond?
it was a Burmese mountain dog.
Are you sure?
I asked her about it.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about Diamond.
Diamond.
Who I thought what did I think the name was again?
Simon.
Yeah, she probably said 3 or 4 times.
At least.
Man, my hearing sucks.
So, but it's like a puppy, but it's as tall as like my waist. It's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Sweet as could
So
be.
friendly.
We were at the flea market and people just bring their dogs, and that makes it better.
That's where they brought the fleas.
It's technically against
Dogs,
the rules even, but they get in there.
Please. I mean, how else? I mean, come on.
Well, Trader's World, that's the Wild West, kind of.
Yeah, not as much as it used to be. It's actually kind of like surprisingly like normal.
Well, like I'm always, it always feels like it's a hair's breadth away from chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm always expecting something to go down.
A fight to erupt.
I just was really expecting it used to be like I would see people that made me feel really uneasy there. Like you'd be somebody in like hate gear.
There was only one old man with a hat that said something about demon rats. Democrats. you know.
Right, but I mean, there'd be
Whatever.
stuff that was straight up,
You
I've
know
seen
how many-
swastikas on people in there.
I counted them. I saw 4 different women in a shirt that said, "It's a throat punch kind of day," or something like that.
And were they all the same shirts or different ones?
They were different shirts and different scripts.
So many people are making these shirts, not just one manufacturer.
And there was a mother and a daughter, and the daughter was wearing a Be Kind shirt.
Hold up. This was Sunday on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So Mother's Day is a throat punch kind of day?
It's a throat punch kind of day.
I guess so. Hey, man, some people, I get it.
I know some mothers aren't the best, but still.
I'm not saying my mother would deserve to be.
No.
I'm saying that I get that someone
sad.
is having a bad day on Mother's Day and decided to put on a really angry shirt.
Well, maybe it was laundry day, and that was the only thing clean.
50% of the people there, 50% of the business is of Trader's World is people channeling their anger into T-shirts.
Yeah. So then the mom-daughter combo, and when I say, like, the daughter was my age, in her 40s, and her shirt said, "Be Kind." Mom said, "I didn't ask for your opinion, so shut up," or something like that.
And the mom was probably in her 50s.
And the mom was in her, like, 60s. Oh, that's funny. There's just a lot of angry T-shirts. Freddie's dead right.
Well, me and Freddy saw one that said, "Thanks for not swallowing."
Oh, my God.
It had a bunch of sperm on it.
That's right.
Like individual sperms with names on it. So you can get that printed for your mom, and you can have a sperm with your name on it and your siblings' names. So, yeah.
I am all for being sex positive, but that's disgusting. Ugh.
Well, it's like, I'm glad for people who are making money.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like...
Why we got to put that kind of hate out in the world?
I don't think it's hate. It's just grossness.
Yeah.
And when I see that, I'm thinking, like, yeah, capitalism is a mistake.
Yeah. For sure. There was a guy... I guess out of all of the serial killers, Ed Gein is the most cuddly. I don't know. But he had a shirt with, like, Ed Gein's fucking face on it.
How many people did he kill, though?
3.
And he wore them and stuff.
Well, part of it
that
was more
many.
abuse. It was more
He was
abuse of a
abused,
corpse.
and then he abused corpse. It was a whole...
Yeah.
He shot that one lady, right?
I don't remember.
In her sporting goods store. I know he killed her.
I know
did
is
he even kill his mother? His mother just died, right? And then he dug her up.
it's weird to walk around with a serial killer's face on your shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to all the kids that wore the Manson shirts when we were in high school. You weren't fucking funny or edgy.
You're gonna get like emails maybe, or posts on social media where people are gonna explain to us exactly Ed Gein's body count.
Oh yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. You know that, right?
I just don't have it all. I don't retain a lot of that
Yeah.
because I don't want to.
I think it's interesting that people do, like in baseball statistics.
I'm like, Ed Gein, his mom was awful. He would wear lady skin. That's all I gotta know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So how do you judge on how awful the serial killer is? The body count or the methods? And
it's just the whole vibe they give.
You know, mine's the vulnerability of the victim.
Yeah.
Like the more vulnerable the victim, the worse the killer.
Yeah.
It's more horrific to me.
But there's also something super tragic. Like Ed Gein was never gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he started off great and then like he wasn't.
All because of a T-shirt.
I know. It's like I get in my head about this shit.
Yeah.
Listen,
I do too. It's all right.
It's crazy. I'm not defending Ed Gein. He's an awful monster.
I checked when you said Ed Gein, I thought baked beans. So I went to check on the baked beans.
How they doing?
They're looking good. They're bubbly. So I turned the heat down. But
some baked beans.
some baked beans, Boston baked beans, lady lips. The guy wearing the Toxie shirt that we met.
Oh yeah, nice guy.
He wallpapers his entire house in horror magazines.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He just cuts them out.
He came and bought a big stack my mom had. And we were like, "Oh, you're a big fan?" And he's like, "No, I use these."
I wallpaper my house. So he is a fan.
I mean, obviously.
That's the ultimate. If you
And I was
glue
like-
them up to
I mean,
your
they
walls,
weren't in great conditions. It was good, that somebody wanted them.
pretty good. Not terrible.
All right, everybody calm down.
But they were in a house with a cat
Yeah.
who might have chewed off the corner of one of them.
My friend used to have wallpaper in his bathroom that had like newspaper clippings in it, and it was very nice to read on the bath and when you're on the toilet.
There's
Yeah.
who used to have a
Clever.
bathroom like that? Was it Subway?
5 Guys, I think, had it.
Where it was like
Subway might have too.
like
yeah.
Gold
newspaper?
clippings, yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
So I support that guy and his horror magazines. Only if it's in the bathroom, though.
And I'm, I
Only
feel
the bathroom?
Because you need reading material.
So like he's putting like images and stuff from the magazines up, I think too. Like so, if you went into his living room, it would probably feel completely and totally insane to have your living room like a collage of anything.
Yeah.
Does you think he puts up
Maybe a statement wall?
pictures on his
like
wall
one
too?
wall.
Because that just wouldn't everything just blend together?
Yeah. It's chaos.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't want to hang anything up if you already have a picture there. Picture on picture on picture.
Yeah,
We can't
I'm
have
curious
that.
about his house.
Yeah.
That's great. Anything else before we move on?
I hope this has been educational.
I hope so too. You good, Andy, if we move on?
Yeah. No.
You sure?
I'm just gonna keep spouting off nonsense.
I hope you could, because I needed a second to find the thing.
I'll give you some nonsense while you're looking.
Oh, while you're I'm sorry. Did you
No.
want to?
Well, I was disappointed that the monkey that you give a quarter to wasn't there, but you go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just want to plug Kelley Kombrinck.
Oh, yes.
You want to plug him?
I want to plug him up. Plug it up. He had a short story performed on something called the Drew Blood's Scary Tales podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's kind of like No Sleep where they perform and
Drew
everything.
Blood.
Yeah, it's a cute name, isn't it?
Oh, that's
And,
adorable.
you can find links on our social media pages. So,
Awesome.
congratulations, Kelley.
Yeah, Kelly, it's awesome.
It's a short
That's
story.
my boy.
Giant.
I know you can get it on Kindle Unlimited if
yeah.
you want to read it too.
From his republished and revamped short story book, These Lonely Places.
Awesome cover.
Yeah.
I love the cover. You know, Kelly, I don't know what Kelly thinks of the cover.
But you
I
love
think it's
the
awesome.
cover. All right, good. That's great to hear.
Are we still vamping?
No, we don't have to anymore.
Ugh.
I can strike a pose.
That's me vamping.
I don't want to see it.
Turn out lights, it's the main attraction.
Have you checked the children?
Literally, I put a check on them,
Check, check.
And done.
and they woke up with checks all over their faces.
I found out
Weird.
today that my mother was pregnant with me when she saw this movie. And it was very frightening for her.
Yeah.
Just imagine, you know?
I feel like this was a lot more frightening to people back then.
Well, Amy's mom lived alone
yeah.
then. It was just Amy as a fetus and Mary Ellen.
It's just us. Just
Just
us
the two
gals.
of you.
I will say, like, the first 20 minutes of this movie was so good and terrifying.
It's
I
the
love
only
the whole
part I
movie.
really remember every
Yeah.
time I think of the movie is the first 20 minutes. And then it
Well,
gets to the last part and you're like, oh.
Well, I've never seen this movie, and I was wondering, how are they going to make this little urban legend stretch out for an hour and a half?
Yeah, because you realize that you're like, it would be torturous to do 90 minutes of just her getting calls and calls and calls and calls.
Yes. Because it would have to devolve to like cat and mouse in the house.
Yeah.
Ah,
I mean, it's possible with like movies like Hush have done it.
true. But
You know.
what I like about When a Stranger Calls is that they give you that. Maybe they should have balanced it a little bit more
It's weird.
with the latter
I
parts.
mean, it's
but-
interesting how they stretch it out.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it wasn't that successful.
Right.
I mean, the first act and third act I thought were great.
Right.
But the meat inside
Carol
the
Kane,
sandwich.
the Carol Kane. Like,
Yeah.
So once you're talking about the entire, you could have done without the entire beeline then.
Yeah. Well, like, I don't know. They could have done it different.
Was it too much of the killer? I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
showed too much of it.
I thought it completely demystifies it, which takes away the fear. Now, listen, they're being real in that part, but what I wanted was the kind of like spooky. Ooky.
Yeah, they showed their hand too much because part of the scary part for me was wondering, like, what happened in that children's room. The cop said they just found him covered in blood, not his blood.
Yeah.
And then the flashbacks in the middle, they showed
Right.
that. And
Yeah.
it's always say like your mind is always scarier than what can be shown on the screen.
You know, this
And they
movie
just exposed too much of the killer.
Well, yeah, I was telling Amy, I feel like this is an alternate reality version of Halloween where you get like just a complete. It's the same basic idea, same story. You know, even Charles Durning and Loomis are kind of similar characters, where he's decided he's going to kill this guy because he's too dangerous. But I think what you're talking, Andy's like they get like a unbalanced washing machine that wobbles because shit's not in there right. Like
Things are clanging around.
that's what this
gotta
movie
sit on
did.
it.
Yeah, like it didn't.
Yes.
It felt like somebody who didn't understand or not that they didn't understand 3-act structure, but maybe they willfully were like, no, I'm not gonna obey it. I'm just gonna say my story is the first part is like a small horror film, and then it becomes like a Michael Mann or a Coen Brothers movie or something.
Yeah.
Like
it's a horror
like
thriller,
simple kind of thing.
And just the reveal of the killer as just this regular dude, that is kind of disappointing because
that's real life.
Yeah, I know, but
it's only good in real life.
the scary part of Michael Myers is you don't know who's under the mask.
Yeah, we're all in agreement on that. Some people like the other way. I think you're wrong, and you should probably get a therapist. But whatever.
I like that you give both because I don't like I've said it over and over again. What Rob Zombie did with Michael Myers is he did what this movie kind of did on purpose right out of the gate, which is give you a lot of backstory that you normally would leave out if you wanted to make like a boogeyman. And but I like that it makes it different. Like I have Halloween, I can always go back to Halloween, but this movie, it feels like Halloween in the beginning, and then I love how it just turns into like that. It really does feel a lot like Blood Simple or one of those movies where that slow he's out and about among people.
It's like a revenge movie at that point because Charles Durning, I get them
Right?
mixed up.
Close enough.
Emmett Walsh. I don't know which one it is.
Put them in a lineup, I'm screwed. You put like Charles Durning is like he's almost it's more about like him tracking down this killer because it's been haunting him.
What's funny, it's almost he doesn't the funny thing is he doesn't want to kill him. It's not, how Loomis is like, he's evil, I'm going to kill him. But I like that when Durning is telling his buddy, who he's a cop with, he goes to visit him. There's the way the shot is the two of them in his office. He's closed the door and he's sitting across from his buddy. And the shot is over his buddy's shoulder and Durning is across the desk from him. And he does this real slow zoom into him. And he says, I'm going to kill him. He's telling his friend, he's like, I decided I have to kill him. Right. But he doesn't want to do it. He's kind of like tortured over it.
I like that aspect, like the ripple effect of a horrific crime.
Yeah.
It affects this hardened cop. It was so horrific that he couldn't let this go, even though I'm sure he's seen a lot of shit.
Yeah, it stuck with him
but
too
the
much.
fact that we saw what happened in the room and it wasn't that shocking.
Is it because you wanted a more graphic depiction of?
Not graphic, but what they showed was very tame compared to how much it was weighing on
Fucked him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It scared. In my mind, it was the Adventures in Babysitting. They were SpaghettiOs. You remember when she tells the same story to the kids and that, and they're like, "What do the kids look like? SpaghettiOs?" I'm like, that's what I see in my imagination is like complete and utter destruction.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't show like the kids, the aftermath. They just showed him being bloodied, like a bloody shirt. But like, the fact they even showed it in the first place.
Andy
that
expected
that kind of ruined it for me. No, they either show me something really gross or not show it at all.
Right. Andy doesn't want any mid.
Who's been a baby?
Your shades of gray bullshit.
Who's been a babysitter here?
Me.
All three of us.
You ever been told there's a fully loaded fridge? Have at it,
Never.
Man. Shit, no.
I've been told don't drink my grapefruit juice. My cousin Sue, rest in peace. I love you, Sue. I babysat her daughter Tasha. But I would steal Hershey Kisses. Oh my God. She always had Hershey Kisses.
No, like all the times I babysat, and they said the fridge is loaded. It's just loaded with groceries. You know what I mean?
Ingredients.
Feel free to make yourself something.
Ingredient over here.
Like in my mind, when the fridge is loaded, you see like cakes,
pre-made everything,
and like a whole turkey or something.
Yeah,
like a roast turkey that you can just rip a leg off, and just
Doritos,
like
Oreos,
a child's dream of what like a full refrigerator is.
Lorna Doone.
If you get hungry, there's manwich. If you're not comfortable with a stove, there's some Salisbury steak in the freezer.
It's because I only babysat boring families, like where the snacks are like rice cakes and stuff.
And there was the diet culture we were dealing with in the 90s.
And it was like just juice and like soda.
I actually liked babysitting, even though I know it's traditionally of men of my generation that would be like a not
I would
typical.
babysit by my neighbor's older brother.
Yeah. And like, I liked it because it was an excuse to watch her stuff
Yeah.
more than anything.
You watch kids shows and it's
Yeah.
like nobody was going to judge you.
Yeah.
Were you guys nosy?
No.
No, not really.
No.
Only in the kitchen because I was
No.
poking around for something to eat.
Yeah, not in Sue's. Like I that was too much of
Yeah,
like sacred ground.
I never went to like the parents' bedroom, but it was more the medicine cabinet type.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to look
Snooping.
around in there. You got to see what's going on. They might have fun Band-Aids.
And it's always fun looking at everybody's DVDs or VHSs.
Yeah.
It's like,
Back
oh,
in
you're
the
cool.
day.
Or,
I would
oh,
get
you're boring.
That level of nosy I would do. I think I was too chicken shit to like really go exploring in somebody else's house.
Speaking of houses, some house porn in this movie.
Oh,
That was gorgeous.
The
loved
first
it.
house, man.
yeah.
That's the type of mansion I like.
Yes.
Like wood
Wood.
walls,
A whole
Dark,
cane collection.
cozy.
a bar.
When you come in, you have a choice of a dozen different walking canes.
Were those
That's
canes
gonna
or
be my house when
Carol
I'm rich.
canes?
They were canes. Oh, and a Carol cane.
Carol Kane and her friend Nancy on the phone. That was some weird tension over some douche named Bobby.
Man, this is before the
Ugh,
internet, so
Bobbies.
Bobby was hard to find.
And she's like, I like Bobby. And Carol Kane's like, bitch, I've been liking Bobby. And then she's like, this sucks. And I hate you. And I don't know. I love you too. Bye.
What
It
was
was
the-
very weird.
What was her husband's name at the end? I forgot.
It was not
It
Bobby.
wasn't Bobby.
Didn't turn out to be
no.
Bobby. It was Lotka.
They all that drama with Nancy for nothing, huh? Carol
And it
Kane.
was interesting to see Carol Kane as a young person.
Oh, she was
Yeah.
so fucking lovely.
Yeah.
She was so adorable.
That was the word that came to mind.
Did you-
But I was confused about her hair in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like she had the curly
Because she was wearing a
sides,
wig.
but
Oh.
in the back it was all smooth.
It was a
That what
mullet.
was, Amy?
Obviously, because 7 years later in the movie, she's got long natural
Yeah,
hair. You can tell that's
she's-
not a weaver.
She's
or
famous
anything.
for her
Kinky
curls.
hair. Yeah.
I think they put her in that wig to make her
Beautiful
look
hair.
younger.
Yeah.
It was just an
Yeah.
odd choice because
It was a terrible wig.
like who just straightens the back of their head?
1970, whatever this was.
I love Carol Kane so much.
When she when she calls the police and she's like, "This is some fucked up shit," and they're like, "I don't know. Is anybody threatening you?" And she's like, "No." Have you checked the children over and over and over again? Is a threat, and I want everybody to know that. So another when the stranger calls doesn't happen to you.
Have you checked the children? It sounds innocent enough.
No.
Have you checked the children?
Over and over again?
If I said it that way,
And
it'd
she
be
never
fine.
did.
Oh, hey,
She
I just
didn't,
wanted-
did she?
She didn't.
She was like, "Fuck those kids."
Um,
Oh my gosh, she never ever checked.
wait a
on them.
minute. Did she not check the children?
I don't remember her checking
You're
the
right.
children.
I don't think she ever
because
did.
like I remember
Did she
like,
peek in once and it was just the shapes of them in the bed? or
No, that was her
Yeah.
peeking at her own
That was
kids
her own
later.
kids. Yeah.
because I remember the cops said like the kids have been dead for hours.
Okay, so let's see here.
So I wonder
Had
if-
she checked on them the first time, would they still be alive?
I don't know because
They might have been dead before the parents left. The parents were like, they're asleep.
yeah, but like they said like we had a lot of trouble getting them to sleep because they had colds. So I'm assuming that they put the kids right to bed before
He
they
killed
left.
sick kids.
I know.
It's even worse.
The Mandrakises.
Yeah.
Dr. Mandrakis. She calls the restaurant. Is Dr. Mandrakis there? Hold on. He left 40 minutes ago. Who? What?
They're fancy people.
I
They
guess.
keep tabs on them. They're so
Oh
important.
yeah, and they went to like a fancy dinner and got all dressed up, and they said, "If we're not home like by so and so, it's because we went to a movie." I'm like, who goes to a movie like that? Maybe back then.
Back then,
It was
you go-
fancier.
I'm not going to a movie in
That's
heels
just-
and
yeah.
hose.
Oh, you meant the way they were dressed.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. No. Yeah, dressed up
But
like
that's
that?
the last thing I want to do after a fancy dinner: go see a movie.
Porno movie,
right
I
as
guess.
well.
Maybe they were going to see a dirty movie.
Maybe that's what.
That's why they were dressed
That's
so
their
nice.
excuse
Yeah.
to be out later. They were really just going to the seedy hotel.
Yeah.
They used to have porn in drive-ins. That's what I meant to
Oh,
say, right?
open air porn.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Wow, I didn't know that.
With all you know about porn, you didn't know that. Well worth reading about. It's wild, man.
Wild West
So I
out
bet
there.
the houses around the
Yeah.
drive-in,
Notorious
yeah.
for like kids with binoculars and stuff. Yeah.
There was a weird choice, but I respect it because it was creepy. But having the detectives carry the black body bags
instead of wheeling them out.
instead of wheeling the kids out, just each
they're
one
so
carrying a child was like one. I don't think they'd fucking do that. Two,
I don't know.
I think they were just,
Ugh,
I think they were just
creepy.
trying to show that they were kids.
Yeah,
And
super
to,
light.
to drive home the fact that these were small people that got butchered.
It's a pretty cruel movie overall.
Yeah.
But really, I think it's really. Andy, I know you said this is your first time. Like, I'd seen this several times, but like, it really nailed it for me this time. It felt like exactly what I wanted.
The first when she gets the call back from the cop and said, "It's coming from that side of the house," that was a really scary moment.
Well, I mean, I love
even
the middle.
until this day.
I love the
like
middle
even though
even.
you know
Yeah.
the story,
Yeah.
but it was still very effective. But like I said, like it was at that point, it wasn't scary to me anymore.
I just stopped taking notes. I can tell when I just kind of didn't. It didn't matter as much to take notes. Like, I made sure to note. I know what I said about Charles Durning, but I love that man. I find him very soothing, and he's R.I.P.
Yeah.
Remember, we said we were going to have that
He's dancing.
that conversation.
We're
We're like, is he dead? Is he not? He is.
every
in
time we
fact
see
dead.
Charles Durning in something, we have the "is he dead"
So I
conversation.
checked it last night.
and he is.
At first, to me, like Brian Cox is the new Charles Durning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got wait a minute, is that Brian Cox? Like, no, it's not.
So I wanted to point out, though, Andy, I understand what you were saying. Like, you love the first chunk of the movie, and then that's the horror movie. But what I'm saying is, like, I used to feel that way, where that was the best part of the movie. But now, like, that whole run with Durning in the middle is really fucking good. If you could carve out a whole separate movie out of that stuff.
I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
Because like they said, he escaped from the psychiatric hospital,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you see him, and he's in like some clothes and
Kurt
a
Duncan.
jacket.
Yeah.
So-
and he doesn't look bad. He's
Yeah,
handsome.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's the scary part to me. Like, how did he get to the point where like he probably escaped in like a hospital robe.
Yeah.
Right.
But then all of a sudden you see him and he's in like street clothes. Like, how did he get to that point?
Right. And then had he killed a mechanic
Yeah.
instead, would he just be Michael Myers? Or did you wonder?
They cross paths. Like, damn it, mechanic's dead already.
Do you think the killer being British was just because they liked this actor and he's not good at an American accent?
I think
that was weird.
They wanted it to be a foreign person, but I think they were being sensitive enough to know that they couldn't be so other.
Well,
You,
why,
Okay.
you know what I mean? They wanted, because they talk about
They
him being
wanted
a
to other it?
foreigner a lot.
well, why
in the
mention that in
beginning.
the first place?
That he's British?
I know that he's an immigrant from he's been in this
Yeah.
country for just a year or something.
Right.
It was just a weird thing to.
It was
even
weird.
Put in.
I was like, what is.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Was
be
it just a fun
surprised.
detail? They're like, ooh, let's like jazz it up. Or did we like this guy who tragically passed away like a year after this movie came out?
It's probably a result of they maybe even originally wrote it for like a more obviously othered person.
Sure. Yeah.
And maybe he gave a really good audition. They put him in there because,
That's
It's
the
classic.
progressives' way of othering. They're British.
but also, I mean, like you look at the Jack the Ripper thing, it was all hung up in his nationality too. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a classic crime story touch to say that the cops always think it's somebody from outside.
Basically, it's Biden's fault because he's letting these criminals just stream into our borders.
Our borders are completely wide fucking open
Yeah.
and they are streaming in.
Well, remember in Salem's Lot, even though Ben Mears lived in Salem's Lot most of his life, he left and came back. He's the outsider. He's the killer, they think, the whole fucking time because he's just not from there.
Yeah.
We are so like easy.
So
that
was
way.
this killer, was he living in a homeless shelter or something?
I guess so.
But the timeline doesn't make sense to me because they just say he escaped a couple days ago. Then all of a sudden he's living in this.
Well, I think
shelter?
it's a flop house.
I think you can just go there and you can stay there
But
if they have a bed open.
he just seemed very established already.
that he had already kind of figured it all
Yeah.
out.
Well, he was probably living in flop houses before he ever killed anybody, too.
True. I don't know.
That deeply mentally ill kind of person.
We
in,
just-
in the 80s after Reagan
we
cut
don't-
everything.
Know a lot about him,
Yeah.
but you do spend a lot of time with him, I guess is what the clarification I want to make because I have a lot of questions about like, what the fuck? But
Wait, this came out in 79, didn't it?
yeah, why?
Nothing.
Oh,
I said something about, I was thinking of the dismantling of the mental health stuff. When
Yeah.
that hadn't even happened yet.
right. Plus, he's British. We were not responsible for his mental health.
True. That maybe that's why
That's on the Brits.
And also,
it made him harder to trace, making him from another
Sure.
country, because it makes the storyline with the cops a little easier to complicate it.
And the way they handle the mental health is very dated because they were talking about shock therapy on him.
Yeah, they still do
She's
that.
like, we do it every other day. Well, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I was like saying
Totally normal.
that woman, like the head nurse or whatever at the facility he had been staying at, was being a total bitch. And Freddy reminded me that our friend Kurt Duncan, who is not our friend, he's the killer, attacked her before and tried to kill her pretty like scarily. And she's being a cunt because she has PTSD and she hates that guy.
Right. And I was saying, like,
And I was like, Freddy, that is so compassionate.
well, it's not that, but also it's evidence of what I'm trying to say about the middle of this movie that I think is often overlooked, because it's all about he's calling from inside the house, and the gag is the whole movie. But there's a great, just a great story in the middle of Charles Durning trying to find that guy, is like the fucking fugitive or something. It's intense. He talks to so many characters, and they're really well-drawn characters. They got good actors.
I think it was well done. It just didn't fit this movie for me. If
Right.
it was a totally different movie.
Oh, we understand what you're saying, Andy. Yeah. It's a difference of opinion in that you want, and that's basically kind of what we are led to believe, that if you're going to write a story, you introduce a character in Act 1 that they appear in Act 2. They didn't do that with her. They just dumped her out completely and started a different story, basically.
Yeah, it's like I was like, whose movie is this?
Right. Yeah. That's confusing as shit. So that makes sense. But also I think that it's so good to me in the middle that I forgive the fact that they kind of dropped her. I wish they didn't. Like, but what are you going to do with her story
Everything's
over
better
the
with
course of
Carol
7
Kane.
years, you know? She could go to med
She's
school.
not making babies.
After she got pregnant real quick.
Yeah, I know. Because those kids were like a lot older.
Like 6'5" maybe. And
Yeah.
they said like it was 7 years later.
That's a
Right.
tall kid.
And
6'5".
so she got ripped in
Breasts.
half when she gave birth. Because like she's still in school and babysitting, so I assume it's sort of like she's still in college. But like 7 years later, she's married with kids already.
Yeah, that
in,
went.
in a beautiful house. Like,
Yeah.
good for you. But
She landed. Ooh,
but still, I was like, you didn't live very much life, did you?
she nailed down a professor or something.
I mean, she
got in there.
probably was afraid to live her
Tenure.
life.
Yeah, she's probably.
I mean, I guess that does make sense, but still, it's just the leap from her
Yeah.
as like this college senior to a
Established.
mother. Yeah.
They literally just kind of turned into the parents from the first
Yeah.
story, like the same kind of class and everything. It looked like
That woman. What was her name again?
Which one? The mother?
Barfly.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Tracy?
Tracy.
Is that her name?
That sounds
Think
right.
so.
I really liked her character. She was really interesting.
Yeah.
Turns out she had been married to George C. Scott, and she's Campbell Scott's mother.
Oh, cool.
Amy has to remind me who Campbell Scott is every time.
He was the guy in Unfrosted.
See, I know. Now I know.
He was in a lot of like late 80s, early 90s movies.
Yeah. George C. Scott's son.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't George C. Scott kind of a Charles Durning? Is he part of
Yeah.
the same class?
Yeah, I mean, he's a heavy man of,
There you go.
of probably like a 5 foot,
Kind of grizzled and hardened.
5 foot 10-ish, 5
Has-
foot 9-ish kind
Has a
of.
gravitas.
But
Yeah.
speaking of Tracy, I was angry at her decisions,
Yeah.
especially letting
Letting
this
him
guy
in the first time.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh,
She didn't seem like the type that would do that
Yeah.
either.
I know, like, yeah, exactly. That's what probably another problem I have with this movie. Just, I know people in horror movies make bad decisions, but it didn't make sense for such a grounded middle. You know what I mean?
You know what? The middle of this reminds me a
She's
lot
so
of
tough.
Joker.
Yeah.
You know? Did you feel that at all? Like, especially like
It's grimy and gritty.
well, in the relationship with was it Zazie Bates?
Yeah.
Was she the neighbor?
Yeah.
She's so good. She would kind of also it was similar. Like, you're like, oh, you're letting this guy into your life a little too easily.
But I can excuse that because the tonally is, I know it's like a comic book movie and things don't make really sense. But we're being introduced to this character that we don't really know much about, and
Yeah.
she seems very street smart and doesn't take any shit. And then she just lets this guy that's followed her home
Right.
After-
It's a problem, but she's also
after
drunk.
hitting on her aggressively.
You know what I mean? She's also
maybe.
clearly going there to just.
I
drink
was
and
just
drink
like,
and drink.
girl, no.
So she might be like. There's a lot of ways you can kind of explain, kind of.
I can
maybe
see
letting her
American
guard
women
down.
thinking, oh, he's British, he's sophisticated, or oh, he's
People pleasing.
British, he probably a little wimp. Sorry.
Yeah, she probably thought
You
she
know
could
what I mean?
overpower
Like,
him. Which I
And he's
said.
tinier than her.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like she could take him.
Anyway, Kurt
Kurt.
was our killer.
It's kind of like that. What's
Killer
that
Kurt
a
killer.
Subway movie we saw? The killer was named like
Craig.
Craig.
Yeah, Craig lived down the bottom of the subway.
Craig lived down at the bottom of the subway.
And her apartment was really interesting too.
Yeah.
More house porn.
I was pleased with all of the interiors.
Did she have access to the entire roof? Because that's like good value for her money.
She probably paid a pretty penny for it.
This is New York, right?
This is New
was,
York.
was it New York?
Was it?
Or was it L.A.?
L.A. to me.
Nobody knows on this house.
I don't know. I don't have my
Couldn't
phone.
tell you.
We're just gonna guess and say it's a city, a major U.S.
I
city.
thought it was New York because I felt New Jersey in some voices.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, but they could have hired people from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I can say that because my mom's from New Jersey.
But I did love seeing Charles Durning run and chase this guy down.
Yeah.
That was a fun part. Just seeing this really
He was really
big guy.
Oy.
I just felt bad for him too.
But he was a dancer. You never.
Fleet of
I
foot
mean,
though.
I guess he
like,
has some.
people can surprise
Like
you.
I know he has like some muscle memory. I'm sure, like being graceful, and I know that your size doesn't dictate your health because like those linemen in NFL
Yeah.
are huge, but
Sumo wrestlers.
they're very athletic. But they're used to like really short bursts of power. But Charles Durning was running.
Little marathon.
He was really, he was hoofing it, man, which made it feel really fucking
Like for long distances,
It raised
and,
the intensity
and
of
jumping
it.
over stuff. It was like parkour.
Yeah. It was that 70s action where you expected the theme to Shaft to start playing any minute. But really, it's also, again, he never plays that character angry or vindictive or anything. He plays him as
plays as haunted.
sympathetic and haunted. Yeah. Just kind of a broken guy who saw something that he can't get out of his head.
Like the bartender that was wearing that yellow turtleneck. I couldn't get over it.
But yeah, remember I was like, he looked so much like he was dressed up like Paul McCartney at one point from one of the Wings concerts.
The bartender?
Yeah, the guy with the turtleneck bartender.
I don't remember that.
Anyways,
But the yellow turtleneck, I'll remember till I'm dead. I don't know why I was fascinated with it. It was such a mustard
really
yellow, French's yellow, mustard, full on turtleneck, not a mock. Full.
yeah, it was thick.
Well, he was wearing it as his whole shirt.
It was everything.
Did
A lot
have
of
a vest
times,
on over it?
a lot of times,
No.
like you wear a turtleneck, it's over under like a vest or like a jacket, but he's just wearing it as a regular.
Are you sure about
I
no vest? I thought he was wearing a vest.
Turtlenecks as a shirt when I was young.
I wore turtlenecks as pants and my balls hung out. And I was like, can I get a longer turtleneck? Because I got long balls.
All right. So what a shirt.
Well, real quick, speaking of the bar, I like that random old couple that was in the bar.
Excuse me.
Yeah, they were just
that?
hanging out.
Yeah.
They were like, we also have a drinking problem. Don't pigeonhole us just because we're 90 years old.
It's
We
those,
also have a drinking.
it's those tiny little bits of charm that I like
Yeah.
that you see in like 70s and 80s movies.
Yeah.
Or the sequel, right?
Yes. And there's a moment that I thought
I've
was
seen it.
I was kept waiting for it to happen in this movie that didn't happen. So there's something in the sequel that you need to see.
All right.
It's called Look Who's Calling Now.
It's when a stranger calls back. It's not even that. It's about the same
Gosh.
level of creative.
But they're not strangers anymore because they knew each other.
Oh.
But the end was real cool where she's in bed and she thinks it's her husband.
Oh yeah,
And,
it was
He
him.
rolls over and it's him.
Dude, that scared the fuck
Yeah,
out
that
of
was
me.
a good
Yeah.
reveal.
Like, there's a couple of moments when he's coming down the stairs.
Don't
the
be in my
silhouette.
bed. Don't be scaring up my safe space.
Has anyone seen the remake?
Is that who was in that?
I don't know. Nobody I know.
I don't think so.
But again, like the end, that kind of logistically. When did that happen?
Yeah.
When you switch places with the husband?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm glad the husband
People
was
lick
still alive.
too. It would have been too much for them to do the people lick too bit at the end with
Yes.
the same guy. And then also he has a hook now.
And it says, "Oh, Susanna" on the wall.
And it says, oh, Susanna.
I was
and he
gonna
eats her
be
toe.
a little upset with the makers of this movie if her husband had died, but he survived.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know,
She'd
we
been
don't
through
need
enough.
to see women's agony all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
The call to the restaurant scene was really hard,
Yeah.
where she's certain that her kids have been murdered
Yeah.
because of this call, and that was fucking intense.
I felt bad for all the food they left behind.
Oh
Right.
man,
Looked like a real nice dinner.
yeah, we're gonna have a nice dinner: baked beans,
Ooh.
corn on the cob, and some hot dogs, like Americans do on the day after Mother's Day.
So that was When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah, good 2/3 of a movie for me.
Sure, yeah.
2/3 now.
The middle and the end.
Yep. No love for the middle.
It was fine.
A little bit of love. I'm trying to coax a little bit of love out of Andy.
It's kind of like a lettuce sandwich.
Yeah, like watercrests.
Oh.
It's like really good bread, but in the middle is just lettuce.
A
Just
slice
lettuce,
of
yeah.
cucumber. Do you like cucumber sandwiches?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Do we know what we're doing next week?
Maybe Mrs. Hubbard. Was it Hubbard's Fountain?
It was Mr. Hubbard's Lubbers, his flubberdubber. He has a ringy dingy.
The one on somebody's Harrigan's phone.
Yeah,
isn't
Mr.
it?
Harrigan's. He has an iPhone.
Okay.
Isn't that what it's called?
It's an iPhone horror film by Stephen King.
All right. I have not seen this, nor have I read
I've read it. It's a pretty good story.
it. So this will be fun. Maybe I'll read it before we watch it.
And it has phone in the title, so it really fits the thing.
Check,
Yeah.
please.
To be fair, from reading the short story, I was very surprised to see they made it into a movie. This really doesn't make sense as a movie to me.
Oh, great.
But I'm sure we're gonna get bag of bones. See how that goes.
I liked the book. All
Book is
right.
good. That's what I meant.
Okay. At the end of every show, what do we do, Freddie?
We thank our patrons, our Beelzebubs, who give us the most generous donations. I know that you could spend your money on so many things, but thank God you do it here because you keep us fed and you keep a roof over us and you pay for our syndication costs. Actually, it doesn't all go that far.
And who are these people? Well, let me tell you. Here we go. We're going to start from the bottom. Dave, Ernie, Jeremy, Cassie, Gamora, Monica, Jordache Jeans, Blayne Yogurt, Bill Fahrner, Old Dirty Billsterd, Dr. Brian, Iona Goodwin.
I own a great one. I thought Andy would do a harmony with me on that. I didn't indicate to him, though.
No, you just thought he was in
And
your
also,
head.
And also I have a 10 year, so I can't harmonize.
Jeffel, Branan and Emily, and our friend Matt. I got to work on my Wordle. I'll do that next.
Matt, thank you for all the nice messages you sent me.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Anything else before I play the song that I absolutely have at my fingertips and could totally play at any moment?
I can't map anymore. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm all out of vamp.
You are not.
I'm vamped out.
He's a total vamp.
I want vamping.
I love you all. Thank you for listening. Bye.